Good morning. Today we'll be presenting on our labs 4 and 5. Um, we have to do only 4 functions, and we couldn't get some to work, but we are in those in the presentation. So our first function you see up on the screen right now is word encounter. This was one of the functions that gave us a bit of trouble to do. Basic purpose for this function is to just to figure out, well, to find the words that has a length one characters. Or function is that we would prompt the user to open a file. Right here, we would prompt the user to open a file. So like when that file was open, the function would automatically read the context of that file and output what they were supposed to do. And in the context that if the person didn't have a file open, what they would have to do was when they would type their file in the text editor, they would have to save it. Then they would open it using the functions, and while doing that, it will work. It will work for the file that they had made. So now you go down to count. This one we did complete. Like I said previously, we would always prompt the user to open a file that they would already had made or will be making. And right here at our loop, where it says in count to 0, what this basically will be doing is that right here, what you see that while loop, what I will be doing is that it's gonna try to read the entire whole context of the text. That's what's in text editor. Then after that, it's gonna try to extract all the words. That's why right there when you see Q string list equals context point split. It's just basically gonna um split up the words. It's trying to gonna identify what's a word itself, and by doing that, it's gonna go on. It's gonna count. It's basically just gonna count whatever word has been typed into the text editor. Right there in our next for loop, and while by doing that, it will be traversing through the list that will be made, because the all the words will be contained in the list. And while by doing that, it will now then and then it will now then where you see Q string total words equal Q string number count. We're basically just transforming the integer of count to a string, so it could be outputted in the text editor.
All right, so our third function is reverse words. And like Golby has mentioned earlier, if the user is if the user is attempting to try these buttons on an empty file, they will be prompted to open a file. Hence, for the functionality to work. So in lines 330, it basically sets the text edit to an empty file, which then and afterwards our current file that we're working on, that it the words will be split into separate words, and then to which they're gonna be switched. So if a word is at index 0, it will then be reversed it will then be pushed the last index and so forth. And in lines 334, all of these splitted words are then joined together to give back our sentence, but in a reversed manner. And in our last function, our highest frequency function, works similar to the other to the past three, but then we didn't quite get we didn't quite get what what was expected of us. We tried we used it the function works, but then it doesn't give us the output that we were expecting. But nevertheless, we used a vector that stores the words in our text file, then and then in this for loop, we're just gonna traverse through all the members of of our vector, and in this if statement, the if loop just states that if our current word is not the same as the word afterwards after that, we're just gonna like, so if we're working on a sentence as this is a file, so if the first word is this and then the f and then the following word for that is those two words are not the same, so then that will trigger the code in this if loop, which then which then sets like the frequency of that file, and then afterwards it sets it resets the value of word count to 0, and then it moves on to the next word and so forth. So we're just gonna run this program and then we're gonna show what we're talking about. So we're gonna work on our call.txt file. Word as we have mentioned earlier, word count doesn't work. It works similar to word count, although that wasn't what we were expecting. But then oh, I was talking about word length counter. Sorry. And then word count works just fine. Gives us correct output. This file contains a total of 7 words. We're gonna work with reverse words, and that is our sentence in a reverse manner. Highest frequency doesn't work. So we're just gonna reset this. We're gonna work with print. Uh, highest frequency, as you mentioned earlier, highest frequency doesn't work. It causes our program to crash. A file. See it. Our notepad our notepad app is exited with code 3. So basically that is what our program for labs 4 and 5 is about. We didn't quite get the output that was expected of us, but nevertheless we're still learning and we get there. Thank you.